I wish Charlie Kirk dropped the mic on September 10th because maybe he would still be here right now. All right, you guys, I want to share a theory that I've thought for a long time, but I've had more clarity on it and have watched more videos from experts regarding detonations and explosives. And I just want to share my theory on this Charlie Kirk investigation that what I think happened. Now, from the very beginning of this, it never looked like a gunshot to me in the neck. And now I feel like I finally understand why. I was watching the Ian Carroll show, and he was reviewing a video from a specialist who knows about these explosives. And basically, in a nutshell, because I can make this a long video, but in a nutshell, what he's theorizing is that there's a possibility that the microphone that he was holding exploded, was tampered with, of course, tampered with, and was exploded and simulated a gunshot, like a rifle gunshot wound to his chest. Now that's crazy, right? Because like the chest, what do you mean? Like, isn't there only a neck injury? Didn't he only get shot once in the neck? Well, he's saying the reason why we're seeing the neck bleeding and the neck, injury there is because a piece of that microphone, possibly based on even it's a slow images, when you look at the slow frame by frame, a piece of the plastic or the shrapnel, whatever you want to call it, hit that part of his neck and caused that bleeding to happen from that side. And that's why the media had to go with that part, because it was never supposed to be here. It was supposed to be here in the chest. And you can see the whole shirt lift up. The shirt lifts up. The shirt wouldn't lift up if it was shot here. The shirt lifts up. You can see it in frame by frame. It's very disturbing, and I've always said that. I've always felt like this is an explosive. There's no way. There's no way that that hole in his neck would be from a bullet. But it would have made sense if that never happened. If that piece never came off, which is a blessing that it did come off because it made us second guess everything. It would have the explosion on the chest would have been seen as a shotgun, like or not shotgun, a rifle shot towards the chest. It would have simulated that. People wouldn't have looked twice or as much at it, and they would have got rid of the microphone right away and all kind of things. Um, and I think that's where it went wrong. That's where it went wrong. I believe that they planned it. I believe this was federally planned. I believe that Turning Point and Erica, especially his wife, was in on this situation. Were they at the meeting in Camp Pachuca, whatever the F the place is called? I don't know. I'm leaning towards probably they were there because they're being so sketchy about it and giving really weird receipts about, like, I was with my husband on September 9th. B word, we didn't ask about September 9th. We asked about September 8th in the evening. That's what we asked about, which, that place is not that far from where they live. So it wouldn't have been anything to get there and get back. So, I mean, that camp, the Camp Pachuca, or the military camp. So, with that being said, I feel like that's why everybody's just like panicking right now. There's such a sloppy panicking because usually in this age and era, if you're going to have a military plan operation, it's going to be much cleaner than this. So I really think it's a blessing that we got to see his neck get injured in that way. The blood come out the neck, and they laid him down right away. They tried to get him out of the view right away afterwards because they didn't want to see what people had originally reported, that his chest was caved in. People have reported that. Those reports got taken down everywhere. But that his reports had caved in, and people that saw blood behind the shirt in the chest area. And nobody was talking about that. People were just focusing on the neck because that was the most visible thing in the videos that we were shown. But as we've seen, and people using 30 by 6 whatever bullets, when they use those, it goes through everything. It's breaking the vertebrae. It's gonna basically decapitate somebody. It would be a bloodbath if that was what shot him in the neck. And so I think they had to come up with that afterwards. They knew they effed up when they saw it. They're like, oh my God. Yeah, they may have killed him, but he was, I mean, at that point he still survived until the hospital, allegedly. I don't know. The people who watch the video say he must have died, like went brain dead right away when that happened. I don't know. People are saying that he was survived to the hospital. It would also make sense why the feds were at the hospital right away, blocking access to the surgeons to see, find out really what happened to him, and if we weren't able to get a real autopsy, like a real thorough autopsy that wasn't corrupted. It's just so disturbing. Like, my heart just breaks for him because it's like his voice is what he had. Charlie Kirk's voice is what he had. It was his power. Is why he was killed, I believe. That was his power, his ability to communicate and like connect with other people from other sides of beliefs, the belief structures. That was his power, and they put a bomb allegedly in his microphone. Allegedly. That's the top belief I believe. That's the top theory I believe right now. The top one. It's just all the physics show that. Like when you take your emotions out of it, take the politics, and I think the biggest issue that we're having right now in this Charlie Kirk investigation, we're having the issue of the government lying to us so sloppily. They've always lied to us, and I feel like people have known they lied to us, but it's always been more subtle, more like they're able to like hide behind it a little bit better, and like you can kind of guess like, were they lying? But it's just so flagrant at this point. They want us to believe that this random Tyler Robinson shot one shot, out of a rifle and got him in the neck. Somehow the neck didn't explode. They want us to think that he got onto a building and escaped without even anybody seeing him or stopping him. But all these police and security there, they want us to believe that the head of security, couldn't fly any drones when there were drones up there. And if you were able to fly drones, so like why couldn't were there many drones? Why couldn't they get access to the roof? Like there's all these excuses and BS, and Cash Patel just that's all he gives us. But we're investigating. We don't want to mess up this investigation. They're so focused on um, putting this. I'm not saying that Tyler Robinson's innocent. I don't care if he spends the rest of his life in prison, honestly. I don't. Ooh, wow. Yeah. I don't care if he spends the rest of his life in prison. That's fine because I feel like he's still part of it. The way he's smirking, he's part of this whole situation. Though he's going along with it, he's not speaking out. Maybe he's not. Maybe he may not know the whole situation, but I know he knows he didn't do it. He didn't do it alone, at least, or at all. Um, but I still think he should be in prison because you're part of this. I believe he's part of it. I believe his family's part of it. This is a big cover up. And I just think it's so disturbing to watch Turning Point, who obviously is feeling guilt. This man is gone. He's dead now. And you can see the company just floundering to keep some type of integrity as they dodge every important question. And apparently there's a live stream where they were trying to debunk Candace Owens' situation, and they just exposed themselves. And I love that. I love when that happens. I love when they end up exposing themselves. They were over there sending messages Turning Point was sending messages to a YouTuber who was live streaming, and he didn't say that not to share it until too late. You should at the beginning do not share, because that YouTuber thought he was gonna read Candace, and meanwhile exposes Turning Point even more for being behind the scenes, instead of messaging Candace directly and saying, hey, we weren't here, here's proof that this did not happen, we weren't at this meeting, we weren't there, like Erica wasn't there, the head of security wasn't there. Like they could have messaged her directly. They already flew out to meet with her in person, so what's wrong with messaging her to let her know, hey, I see who you brought on. Candace didn't even accuse them. This was her witness. This is the witness speaking about this. So why is this Candace's fault, and why is everybody attacking Candace? And I just want to say too, on this video, I am so disappointed in Alex Jones. I'm so disappointed. I still think that some of what Alex Jones has said in the past was true, including some things about Michelle Obama, that she may not have been born the gender she is, all that. Like, I still believe in a lot of things like that he has talked about. But the way he's attacked Candace, the way he just destroyed his integrity and attacking Candace, I'm not saying that Candace Owens is above reproach. She herself will fact check herself. and, ask questions and adjust what she believes based on the new information that she gets. But the way Alex Jones has become unraveled, and he's always been a little unhinged. I just thought he's seen too much before. I thought like he's just seen too much. He's being threatened. The deep state is after him. Like I feel bad for him. Now I'm like, Alex, you are a part of the deep state. You are. Where is this $1 billion lawsuit? They need to come get you for that $1 billion lawsuit at this point. Before, I'm like, you don't deserve to have that $1 billion lawsuit. Like I hope that they get past that and stuff, or your free speech, whatever. But now that he's just being like a spineless Fed contractor at this point, I just am like, take that billion from him. I'm over him. I'm done. I'm tired. Candace Owens was supposed to be a friend of Alex Jones, and this is how he treats his friends. These people don't care. When it comes to Israel, they don't give a F about anybody. About it. When they get that check, whatever that check is, when they get that call, they're on it. They're just like F everybody. They'll burn it all down. And you can see it happening. And I wasn't expecting that from Alex Jones. And I feel so dumb. Because I always felt something weird about him, but just like I said, I just thought he was just scared from maybe he might get assassinated or something. I don't know. Maybe he's just afraid. Like I felt there's fear coming from him and panic. But what he's doing now, and I've never been a big watcher of him. I watch a few things of him, but he always was too much of me. There's always something that was too sensationalized. So I respected him. I followed him until recently. I don't follow him anymore. But I just felt like he was too sensationalized and too just over the top for me to watch. I just like, oh my god, I only watch him when he does an interview with Candace, or maybe Tucker. I think he did an interview with Tucker Carlson too. That's all I could stomach because I need something to rein him in because it was just too much, too all over the place. Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing here? So now I'm questioning a lot of the things of what he said. Are they true? Was he being real before it didn't change? That's the issue with these things, with these conspiracies and with these dark deep state cover-ups. They put so much misinformation and confusion out there to make you second guess and question everything. And thankfully to Candace Owens, she allows that questioning. She doesn't attack you for questioning her. She's watching these attacks and she's like, dang, everybody after me. We got governments after me. All these different politicians after me. My own people I thought were friends are after me. It's just so heartbreaking to watch people who you respected just reveal themselves as pawns. And I do believe that Alex Jones is a pawn. And it's just, I wasn't expecting that. That took me, it's hard because I feel like I wasn't expecting it, but looking back, I see all the signs. And to why I didn't watch him often at all. Like I really rarely watched him. But sometimes when he had it right, I feel like he had it right. Like I do think he was right about Michelle Obama. I do think he was. I just see that. I just see him as what it is, But anyways, I want to focus on this situation. So, they are panicking about this Fort Huachuca. I hope I'm saying it right. They're panicking about it. They're trying to make every excuse, and none of them are sticking. It would have been great for one, and Candace would have loved it too, or not loved it, but it's been okay, accepted it. If one of the people who were claimed to be there had a solid alibi, like, nah, I was live streaming at this time. There's nobody I could have been there. I have a picture from this point. My data's right here. I was this, I have a proof that my Wi-Fi was connected to this, and I was in this place, and whatever, anything, something to prove that they weren't there. But nobody is giving anything of substance, and that just makes it even more reliable that this happened. And now the media, left and right, I don't even know if the left is even involved in this right now, but they're trying to destroy her witness, Mitch, who's a veteran. They're trying to destroy his character, look back in his record and see any of his relationship issues and abuses and all kind of things like that. They're doing their best to paint him as an unreliable witness. Just because somebody has a bad background or a bad history doesn't mean they didn't see what the F they saw, and I'll stand by that. He could be the worst person. We're not talking about what kind of person he is. We're talking about, did you see what you said you saw? He doesn't get anything from this. He's not getting money from this. Candace didn't pay. Maybe Candace paid him. I don't know if he did. Whatever. I don't even know or care. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't enough for his reputation to be destroyed like this or whatever. We're trying to find out if this meeting happened. We don't give a f about Mitch in that way. Like, people are like, oh, you trust in Mitch? Like I said, a demon from the pits of hell could witness something, and I would want to know what they witnessed and if it was true or not. I would want to know. And so I just feel like people are just going all off sideways, trying to discredit him when we need to be discrediting what he said. F him. F Mitch. Who cares? I mean, not thank you for your service, Mitch, but F him. We don't care. We don't care about Mitch. I forgot his name until people kept saying it. All I know is that he said something that's very compelling that put people who shouldn't have been somewhere at that place they should not have been. And we want to know what happened in that meeting. Why would there be an incident report if there was no meeting? You know, some people are saying that Mitch is being a paid person to set Candace up, you know, make her destroy credibility. How could that happen? Because if she finds out he's lying, if she finds out the situation is not true, then she'll confirm that. She's not going to stand by something that's a lie. That's never been Candace. So people don't know Candace, but they know that this is true. This must be true. This situation must be true for them to be so scared. They're terrified right now. You know, you got Erica putting her own finger over her kids' faces, showing that I was here on the September 9th. Why are you, the CEO, being so sloppy, sending this picture and saying, don't share? Well, they shared it. Maybe you should have that conversation with the YouTuber before you sent all that stuff behind the scenes. Like, this is so sketchy. They could just call Candace. And they can say that, well, they don't want to talk to Candace. They had a conversation. They had a decent conversation. It went the way it went. There was information shared. Now, and she said, and even both of them had tweeted saying that, you know, they had their conversation. Why couldn't there have been more communication? Candace brought this man on because that's what he said he saw. If that didn't happen, why can't we just have proof? Why are y'all making this harder? Why is anything that Turning Point is asked of them, they make it the hardest possible to communicate it back? Like, they can tweet like crazy and say all this attacks, but when it comes to proving something wrong, they're so slow with it, so sloppy with it. I don't get it. Why is that? I mean, seems very guilty to me. So I do feel like a lot of people are implemented, and I'm not saying that everyone knew that it was in the microphone. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people had no idea, because you can't have too many people knowing if you're gonna do that. But the key people, I feel like they know. The main people who believe in the Fed slop of Tyler Robinson just did it on his own. He was mad about his trans girlfriend, and he was just mad. Oh my God, he wanted to silence Charlie. He's a leftist. Ah. Anyone who believes that and is defending it, it's okay if you believe it, because some people just trust the government and they believe it. But when you're defending it and saying that we can't even question it, I believe you're guilty. I believe you're covering something else. You know more, and you're guilty, because that's so foolish. It's just so beyond. Like, it's so beyond to try to stop somebody from furthering an investigation about their friend being assassinated in front of the world. Besides all of this, they're attacking Candace's mental health, which they love doing to silence people. They've always done this. Whenever you tell the truth, they just attack your mental health and say, "Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you think people care about you that much? Oh, you're crazy. Oh, they're attacking you. Oh, you're just lying. You knew you were lying. Oh, whoa, you're crazy." And that's not working this time. We've been gaslit too much. You know, they told Britney Spears that she was crazy, and then they made her crazy with lithium by just like constantly putting her in situations where she can go crazy after telling her she's crazy. And we're not falling for it. We're not buying for it. We're not buying it. And it's we stand with Candace and protect Candace at all costs, and long live Candace Owens. That's where we're at right now. Is she the queen of everything, the queen of truth? No, we're not saying that. We're not in a cult. We're trying to figure out the truth. We all want to know what happened to Charlie. Yeah, we support Candace for what she's doing. We appreciate that so much. She's very brave. But at the end of the day, we want to know what the F happened to Charlie. And how far is our government implemented in this? This affects everyone. Even if you don't give a F about Charlie, you can watch this right now and say, F Charlie, I can't stand him. He was evil. He was hateful. Which I never understood how people can say that Charlie Kirk was hateful but not have any proof of it. What clip do you have? What anything do you have that he was hateful when he was speaking to people who believe the opposite of him? What kind of hateful person does that? Creates a platform for people with the opposite views to be heard. And you can agree with him or agree with them. You have your freedom to do that. And he believed he literally died with a shirt that said freedom on it, which Turning Point sold and made millions of dollars off of. Which, hey, do your thing, but don't diss other people when they have advertisements for the effing show that they've been doing for years. They're not selling Charlie merch. Or Candace isn't. I don't know if anybody else is, but Candace isn't selling Charlie merch. And if she was, I think she would sell probably the Go Max. Go Max. We need to go Max and find out who the F did this to Charlie. There's his own wife. Like, I was just done. I've been done with Charlie, with Erica Kirk for a long time. But when she said, I believe the feds, I believe the FBI, I believe I have trust in our system, and our judicial. When she said, I have trust in our judicial system, that's her exact words on that show. I have trust in our judicial system, directly contrary to what her own husband, who sacrificed his life literally to find the truth and to expose these lies that our own government has told us. When she said that, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I knew she was part of it. It's a wrap. Like, this has been the worst PR run that they've ever had. And that America First, America Fest, whatever, Amfest, a hot mess. I feel like they even knew. They almost knew that this will be the last one they hold or something. Like, I hope they all go down with the ship. I think that it was a God intervention. Like, I know it sucks for him to be dead, for Charlie to be dead, but like, and I do want people to stop with the whole, I mean, not stop, but whatever. If he's still alive, okay. And I feel like that's far-fetched, that he's still alive. I think that's super, super far-fetched. And people are, I've seen different theories about that. But they have every right to go down that line. Maybe they'll find something and I'll be like, oh, I can't believe that. But that's super far-fetched that he's alive. Was that him? Was that his body in the casket? I don't know. That doesn't mean he's not dead, though. But that body in the casket she laid over, those hands were super yellow. It was super weird. It felt like a wax figure. It just looked really odd. It didn't look real, and it covered his face. Her head was always covering the face of him. But she was showing the hands. It was just really weird. And the hands are smaller than his actual hands were. Yeah, that was weird. But that doesn't mean he's not dead. That just may mean that they were trying to cover up how he died. That's something else, if that's true. But we need to get to the bottom of this. I was saying something else, but I just forgot about what I was saying because I just wanted to mention that situation. But I don't trust Erica. I don't trust Turning Point. I hope they lose all their money. I hope they get exposed. I hope they all go to prison for their part in this. They won't, because the government's involved as well, I believe. So that they probably, realistically, nothing will happen to them. Nothing will happen. But all these people Charlie trusted and hired around him, just to betray him in the most ultimate way, is so just devastating. To think of the concept of people you trust around you, there's all kind of snakes. And I will say, on the end of this, like, I do believe that this was Charlie's karma. I think it was his karma. And not because he's a bad person, I think he's a great person. A very good, powerful, brave person. A brave person who valued money a little too much. A lot too much. You know, and money's not evil. I mean, I love me some money too. Who doesn't want to be rich? But he took money from people who were ready with the knife to stab him in the back. who had alternative motives. You know, he didn't use his judgment when he chose who were investors that he took money from and who he decided to work with, politicians he was going to work with. He had more grace for them than they deserved, you know? And whenever you let money rule you in that way, snakes slither on in. I think he had bad judgment when he chose his wife. And people say, oh, do y'all think Charlie was stupid? This is his wife he chose. This is his place. This is his team. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. He was the flawed person like we all are. We all are flawed. Everybody. Candace too. Everybody. She'll say that herself. She'll say that I get angry too much sometimes. You know, hey, it's real. It's life. But he picked some bad people around him. He valued money to the point where it clouded his judgment on who to associate with. And now he's dead. And now that money can't even be spent in the way that he would have done it. You know, for his company or for himself, any of it. Like none of it can happen. So that's why I say this was his karma that this happened to him. But we still deserve to find out how this happened and get justice for him. He still deserves justice, even though this was his karma. And I hope that karma destroys the rest of the people involved in this, whether they get legally brought up, whether they get whether they get justice in the court or in life. I hope they get their justice. I'll just say that because I don't want to say something else. But whether they get justice, they have the payback. They get their payback for what they've done, their karma. Whether it's in court or in life, I hope that karma F's all of them up for betraying Charlie Kirk. Because that's just not right. But it was bound to happen. You can't have that many snakes. You can see it. You see all the people who left him, all the donors who took money out, who threatened him and pressured him. You know, this wife that's just moving on with her sparkly outfit, just moving on along. This company that's just being so snakish and walked away literally as he was shot, walking away from him. The security guards who didn't even provide medical aid to him, the proper medical aid. You know, that was even surprising. Looking back at that part too, if it is true that the microphone exploded, which I do believe that at this time, I feel like the security guards looked surprised. They were like, this wasn't in the dress rehearsal. It was like that moment of like acting, you know. I'm saying the event was real. As far as the event, like he died, I feel. But when he was on the ground, they was like, oh my God, they weren't expecting. They were just supposed to cover the body. So people didn't see where the shot happened in the chest. They weren't expecting a neck wound. They knew that something else had happened. They weren't covering the wound on the neck like they should have. They weren't holding it down. Because honestly, that wound in the neck, if that was held in, he may have been able to survive somehow. If that was all it was the wound on the neck that was spurting blood out, if that was all it was, he may have had a chance to live. But they knew it wasn't that. And they didn't even give aid to that. But it wasn't that. It was more, I believe it was a full chest, and I believe the chest was encaved from the explosion. And people do this all. Oh, one last thing. Oh my God, I forgot. I should have brought this up way earlier. Oh my God. One last thing on this, and I'll end it off here. Isn't it mysterious and suspicious that a plant that made those types of explosives happened to explode itself just about a month later, killing about 16 people who were employees at this plant that built these explosives similar to what could have been allegedly in the microphone that Charlie was holding. I implore that you go down this rabbit hole and see what you find and put in the comment section. I'm curious, what do you guys think about this? It's dark, it's disturbing, but is it real? Is it true? This is what I feel really happened to him. I might be completely wrong. I want to know the truth. So I'm not going to stick by this. Like, oh my God, this is what it must be. This is what it feels like it is that happened to him. And I feel like the next situation was an accident. A piece of it that came up that happened to hit the neck. And if we never saw that, we would have had a whole different story from the government, a whole different situation, because we only heard one shot. There was only one shot heard officially. People heard other things, but there's only one shot officially, so they had to go with what was visible. That's where they ran into the issue. If that never happened, we wouldn't have known all this. So, all right, rock on, Mercuryans. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you guys think. Well, how do you think Charlie Kirk passed away, or was assassinated? See you in the next video. Bye.